to a show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Off the Mats Podcast. And my guest today, so we tried to do this a couple weeks ago, and I had some internet mess ups. So we couldn't record before. So now we're coming back again to do this once more. Thank you for your patience, Miss Julia. Julia's a returning guest.
Welcome. Hello. And it's actually better timing now because I went on more adventures and have more stories.
So yeah, and that's what I was thinking too. I was like, you know what, this kind of works out. You know, she'll have more to add to the pot. So
yeah.
So how have you been?
I have been doing too much as normal for me. I feel like every time I come on here, I'm like, I'm doing too much. I need to slow down, and then I just do even more. I've been to a lot of competitions since we last talked. Had a lot of fun and interesting times along the way. Yeah.
Competition wise, let's see, when did we last talk? August. It was the end of August last time we talked.
It was. So
since then, what'd you get into?
So last August, then I went on a mini jiu-jitsu road trip in September over Labor Day up to Nashville, and we hit like 4-5 gyms. No, 6 gyms up in Nashville over Labor Day weekend. And that was really fun. I went with one of my friends. And then, well, he actually wasn't really a friend at the time. He was just somebody that trained at my gym. And like I knew him, like we trained obviously, but not like the friends that I like go out and hang out with and stuff. But I was like, hey, Dion, like I'm going on this road trip. He's like, that sounds really cool. I was like, I guess we're gonna go together then if you don't have plans. He's like, yeah. So that's the story of how Dion and I became good friends. We just like were acquaintances and just decided to go on a 4-hour, 3-day long, insane amount of training jiu-jitsu road trip. So that was fun. That was how I kicked off my training for the next set of competitions, which I'm looking at my pictures now to see all of them. I did Charlotte Open in the fall.
Okay.
I think it was. Yeah, it was October. And that one was a little bit crazy because I went up there and I was going to drive like the day before, but there was one of these big storms, a hurricane or something, and I just could not drive. So I left at 4 a.m. from Atlanta and drove to Charlotte and was exhausted. But I got there just like early actually and worked the event, competed, did gi and no gi and the absolute divisions. And I had not my home team in Atlanta, but my team that I train at in Virginia, 804 Jiu-Jitsu was there. So it was really special to go up there and train with them and have them there as my team. So that was fun. I didn't perform as well as I wanted to I'm just going to say because of the lack of sleep. But I still enjoyed it.
Is there any was there any particular reason? But yeah, sleep is important.
Yeah. So that one was fun. Let's see. After that, where did I go? I think the next one it was P.O.T.S. no-gi. Yes, I flew out to Texas for P.O.T.S. no-gi where I got bronze. I was happy with that. I was pleased with that. Nothing really to tell there. It was a fun competition. There is a story. This is just like a short story of a series now, which is if you're flying to Dallas, make sure you know which airport you're leaving out of because there's 2 airports in Dallas and some people forget that. And my teammate did, and he missed his flight because he thought we were going to the same airport. That's that story.
I've never been out to Texas, period. So that's hopeful to me, to be quite honest, because if and when I do go there, I need to know the information.
Yeah.
So, but going out to Pans, you said you ended up getting bronze out there.
Yeah, pans and bronze. I was pleased with that. That was the first time I did no gi pans. I've done pans gi before, but never no gi. So it was exciting.
Oh, cool, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't compete after that until January, but what I did start doing, like an absolute crazy person, was training to run for a half marathon.
Oh yeah, I did see that. I did
Yeah.
see that you started running. I was like, Jesus, like one hobby at a time. You-
Yeah, I know. I need to rein it in. But here's the deal. I never ran before, and anytime I did, like about like once a year, basically, I would say it's time to go out and see how I feel running. And every year I always had pain in my ankles and shin splints, and it was just a horrible experience. But for some reason this year in November it didn't hurt and it wasn't a horrible experience. It's like, oh, well, I guess I could do it. Like it would be helpful for my cardio. So I was like, I'll just do it and see if I can get like 5K, 3 miles. And I did it and I didn't have any pain. I was like, oh. And then I was like, I kind of feel good after this. And then one of my friends who runs was like, just get this, like sign up on this app for a free training plan for a half marathon and see how it goes, and set one for like February. You don't even have to do it, just like make it your goal. And I'm incapable of setting loose goals, and I was like, no, now I have to do it. So I did that, and it was actually like the training was hard, obviously, but it was really fun because I ended up, a few people in my gym run as well. So I trained with them. And then the day of the half marathon, I ran with my friend who's, she's a white belt. She's been training for a year now. And so we kind of switched roles because I've been taking her under my wing in jiu-jitsu. And then she is a ultra runner. So she used to run like 50 miles and she's like super fast. So she's like, yay, now I get to train you. I was like, okay. But bless her heart, she was so nice. She usually runs like super fast. I'm running like 12-minute miles. That's how slow my half marathon pace is. She's running like 7-minute miles. So she's like just going along with me. And she was such a trooper. She cheered me on the whole way. We stopped and petted dogs. She was amazing. I'm very, very grateful to have her as a friend. Of course, we talked about jujitsu the whole time as well. It was really fun. And then the surprise guest was somebody else from my gym because I told everybody, I was like, hey guys, like you can just sign up. Like it'd be fun to try to go and run. I'm gonna run really slow. And everybody was like, no, we're not gonna do it, except the ones that already ran. But then one guy, he secretly signed up. He's still saying to this day that he did not train for it. I think he trained a little bit. But he just signed up and we had no idea. And he just like texted us. He's like, hey, where are you guys? I'm here. And he ran the full half marathon. And he didn't even, that's the worst part, right? I trained from November to February for this. And he didn't train at all. And he showed up and I finished maybe 5 minutes before him. I was so embarrassed.
I mean, maybe he's built in, a natural runner. He's got it built in. I don't know. My goddaughter messaged me a few years back, just out of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I told this recently on the podcast where they're like, hey, we're going to do a 5K.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, all right, what time? And I think it was like fucking 9:30 in the morning or something on a Saturday. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, cool. Showed up knowing that this was a poor choice. And I'm looking at all the people, and my only thought in my mind was, don't finish last. And as I started running, seeing people behind me, I was like, don't finish in the bottom half. And then when I started seeing people pass me, I was like, finish in the top 100.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw my goddaughter pass me. I was like, beat her. Like the goals change as it
Yeah.
started going along. And then as we're running up a hill, like the final stretch, it's up the hill. The finish line is right there. She's ahead of me, and
Mm-hmm.
I just poured everything into it and just passed her at the finish line. She was kind of pissed, but the thing is,
Encouraging competition is good.
yeah,
Now she
yeah. I
has a
mean,
villain origin story.
she should have known that was going to happen, so she should have been running harder at the end. Like
Mm-hmm.
you at the end, that's where you turn on the gas. You save up
Mm-hmm.
all the reserves to the end. And I feel like that's kind of what he was probably doing. He was like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? I'm gonna turn it on, and it's still 5 minutes behind you. So I feel like with all your training, you're doing well, and with him, no training, I feel like he was secretly training, probably just wasn't
Yeah.
telling nobody.
Also, I would like to point out to the fact that I stopped to use the restroom and we
Mm.
stopped and pet every dog we saw, which were a lot of dogs, and he didn't stop at all.
Oh no, you could have probably beat him by 15 minutes in when you
Yeah.
factor in bathroom breaks and dog petting breaks
Mm-hmm.
and probably secret training on his end. Like you
Mm-hmm.
could have probably beat him by 15 minutes, maybe
Yeah.
20.
That's
So,
the goal.
well,
I think I might do another one like in the fall, and I'm like, I'm training. I got faster shoes, and I'm going to a track, and I'm doing the runner thing. I'm running 800 pace things. I don't know. It's on my little app. It tells me what to do. I'm like, I'm gonna learn how to run fast. Gosh darn it! I will not be slower than people that don't train.
I had an app, and I only turned it on once, and I deleted it. It was like, was it Couch to
Gosh,
5K or some?
yeah.
And I was like, oh, that seems like that could work for me. This was after I'd already run the 5K with my guys. I was like, because they're like,
Mm-hmm.
you want to do another one? I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I didn't want to do another
Yeah.
one, and we actually did sign up for another one, and I intentionally showed up late, and they were gone, like uh, they ended up. I think we ended up just getting to the course and just walking. And we're like, we're just gonna go
Mm-hmm.
on a family walk. Like, this is like, let's not do the 5K thing. Let's just go
Yeah.
walk as a family. But
That's nice.
you know, it's nice to have at least something to kind of build you to get you there. If that's what you
Mm-hmm.
want to keep doing. Me, I didn't want to. Like, I'm a sprinter. I'm not a long distance runner. If you say you
Yeah.
want to sprint, do like a quick like race, I got you,
Mm-hmm.
doggy. You
Yeah.
say you do like a big race, I'm like, no.
Yeah. To each their own. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun. Um, Back to jujitsu, but kind of working in the running. I went after Pans. My next competition was European, the GI championship, and so I went to Paris for that. And I was also in the middle of my training for the race, and so I, like a crazy person, went. I think I competed like the second day at Europeans, which I will tell the story of Europeans after I tell the first story of running, which is after. Don't worry about the timeline. I got there, competed, and then went back into my running training. So I don't know if anybody else listening here runs, but my tip of the podcast is if you're going to a new city and you don't have much time, but you want to continue like your regular running and training, book a running tour of the city. I got up at like 6 a.m. to do a running tour of Paris, and I know that sounds horrible to a lot of people, but it was really just
Yes.
like sprinting and then stopping, and then the tour guy like told me about like all the historical stuff, and then we like ran the other place, and it was so much fun. And the city was kind of empty because it was early, and I learned so much. And we weren't in Paris for very long, but I got to see a lot of the city because we just ran all over the place. I ran like 6 miles. It was very fun.
I mean,
It's
I'm
just a
sure.
faster walking tour.
Okay. I don't know. Nothing that has the word running in it sounds fun, but I'll take your word. I trust you, Julia. I believe in you, but I'm just throwing this out there. That does not sound fun. And if I ever go to Paris or any European country and I decide I want to go for a run, just understand that I've decided that is probably the last thing I'm ever doing in my life. But you know what? I am proud of you. Hey,
Thank you.
with the running in
Yeah.
connection to like your grappling, did that kind of help your cardio or anything in any ways?
Yeah. So this is a longer story, but I'll shorten it. Um, the cardio has definitely helped in like I don't feel tired, especially at competitions. I think I'm noticing like I am not feeling as tired at the end of these matches, which is really good. And then I also, over this span since we last talked, discovered I have a condition called POTS, which is posterior orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. And it's an autonomic dysfunction, which is just a lot of big words to say my heart goes too fast, my blood pressure goes too low, and I just have to eat a lot of salt.
Okay.
It's very strange. But I always like, since I was younger, like noticed my heart sometimes would just like go super fast, right? And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with
Yeah.
me? I just thought like whatever, I have low blood sugar or I'm a woman or whatever. And anytime I was like playing passing game, I always got super tired and like lightheaded. And it turns out, first, I was out of shape because I didn't do any cardio. And then second, this condition as well, because when I like went to like put my head down, if I'm like transitioning from standing up to getting closer in and to half guard or side or something like that, that change in levels, just my body was like, we're not going to do that. But now I have salt tabs and I take like, so I guess the recommended amount of salt per day for people is like 3 to 5 grams. I need 10 grams of salt a day. So I have salt tabs that I just take throughout the day, like little pills. I'm a salty bitch.
You beat me to it. Um, like I'm sitting there thinking like, damn, I'm pretty sure I eat way more salt than that in a day, but
No, you
maybe
don't. Trust me, you don't.
like maybe I need to figure my life out. Actually, no. When I really think about it, I don't. I don't know. I like when we, my wife always gets on me about eating too much sugar,
Mm-hmm.
and then I go so far off on the other end of the spectrum. Then it's like you're eating too much salt, and it's like, leave me alone. Let me live my life. Like
Yeah.
I'm an adult. Let me figure it out. But with the pots,
Mm-hmm.
so like it's just kind of there. Like there's no like fixing it.
No, not really. We could do like, I guess mine is like a mild case. Some people definitely have it a lot worse than me. But the good thing is cardio and like being exercise, like doing a lot of exercising is very helpful. And the doctor was saying like it sounds so ridiculous, but people with POTS are actually like exercise intolerant to where like it's hard for them to exercise, which sounds like an excuse that you're not in shape and you don't want to, but it is true. But since I've always like been kind of active, it's like lessened my symptoms and it's not as bad. But yeah, just take the salt and it increases the blood volume. I don't know. He was like, "This is you'll be fine. Take the salt," and I'm like, "It actually works. It's amazing."
I'm glad that it's working and it's helping you. I mean, it's
Yeah.
weird to think like you had this going on and you weren't aware, but you're still like kicking ass.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I knew like that I had the issue, and I've come extremely close to passing out in jujitsu a couple times because of it. So like anytime, like it's pretty common when you're rolling, you change
yeah,
positions, right? And like going from standing up to down, or just any plane change, and I would feel my heart rate get like super super fast, where like I couldn't move, I couldn't do anything, and it's very scary. But I'm not dying, which is great. That was the entire thing of going to the doctor. I was like, I feel like it's not the right thing for my body to do to go to heart rate super fast. But my team is very concerned because it's happened a couple times. So Julie almost passes out and has to go to the hospital. They're like, you need to get this checked out. We want to make sure you're not dying. It's like, okay.
like good on them for seeing it. Because I mean, like you said, like in training, sometimes it happens. You get a little lightheaded and you just think, let me
Yeah.
hydrate, let me get some
Mm-hmm.
water in my system. And it sounds like maybe that's not exactly what you wanted to do. But
Yeah.
like, here, give us some water. And like, no, that's gonna make matters worse.
No, I do need a lot of water still. Yeah. Now the joke is like it's okay. We'll just crack some salt over you. Be all right.
Ooh, that makes sense now. Like when, in football, something happens and coaches just like take a salt tablet. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
just gonna fix everything. But maybe for some people that was the case. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, just fucking take a salt tablet, you dumb bastard. Like you're soft. Yeah. I don't think that was my case. I just fucking didn't like doing fucking burpees, dude. Like I cried doing burpees.
I
Like this
think
shit's
a lot of people
embarrassing.
cry doing burpees. If to be fair, though, it's a very unpleasant experience.
This was my first time doing burpees, and I didn't understand what was happening. I didn't know why I was being punished. And then I started like tearing up. I was like, dude, I don't know that I'm built for this. It's like I don't want to go to the NFL if we got to do burpees.
Hmm.
So fuck all that. And salt tablets.
Yeah.
It's good that it's all kind of been figured out, at least you know what's going
Yeah.
on, and
Yeah.
not still out there wandering, just like, oh, I'm just gonna keep doing it, because there's a lot of folks like and not just your age bracket, but shit, my age bracket, some shit like
Hmm.
that happens. We're like, no, I'll be all right. Like,
Yeah.
I'll go to urgent care tomorrow.
Yeah. It's easy to do that, and I'm just like, I will do it. And it's actually, I was like, it did take me 2 doctors to figure this out. So it wasn't easy, but I am very, very happy that I figured it out, because I feel like my performance now is like, I was like here, I was like medium, totally like, I didn't know anything different. Like that was just how I felt in my
Yeah.
body. But now that it's better, I feel like I have so much more energy, and I just feel like a better athlete overall. It's crazy.
Okay. Well, good, good. It's funny to think that you didn't know any different,
Mm-hmm.
but again, you're still kicking ass, and it's like, oh, you go and get this looked at, and also too going to a couple different doctors,
Yeah.
because a lot of times people will say, okay, you go to your primary, and they're like, no, I think you're all right.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, are you sure? Because I don't
Yeah.
feel all right. So I'm certain my wife would do that. It's like she's had the same doctor all her life, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
nah, they know better. I was like, man, your doctor was old when you was born.
Yeah.
Like, come on now,
Yeah.
think about that
Go
now.
get second opinions, and believe in your body when you feel like maybe something isn't right. That's the story. And like maybe it's something as simple as taking salt. Sometimes it's the little things in life. Like I was talking with my friend the other night, and he works in technology, and they've had this one issue in their system for like over 2 years, and they finally got somebody else to look at it, and it was he's I don't know anything about computers, but he's like, it's just this one line of code that took like 5 minutes to fix, and it like took the system up to like 75% capacity, where it was at like below 50, and it's just like the tiniest little thing that could fix it. So
True, true. Like, I feel like that's always the case with a lot of stuff. I think they're trying to figure out time travel still, and it
mm-hmm.
sounds like it's just now, mind you, I'm obsessed with time travel. That's my
Yes.
shit.
Yes.
But I don't think we should be fucking with time travel. It sounds like it's just a tiny. It The way that they make it sounds like it's a big thing, but in comparison, it's a tiny thing. But it's a tiny
Mm-hmm.
thing that's near impossible
Yes.
to manufacture to make time travel work. And it's like, let's just not mess with time travel. Let's
Mm-hmm.
let's let's but like hopefully that tiny thing is gonna stay impossible. But sometimes it's just the smallest of details that can change anyone's life, period. So good, I'm
Yeah.
glad you're moving in the right direction. And Julia was already a badass at medium capacity, not full capacity. She's just gonna go out there and start ripping arms off and choking people unconscious with like her pinky. It's like, Jesus Christ, calm down, Julia. You got all the gold medals.
No, not all gold. I've been getting bronze lately.
And then maybe you need to eat less salt. like,
Maybe.
what are you doing?
I don't know. I
Uh,
don't know. Yeah. At Panzo, I got this past at gi pants. I got bronze too. So I'm like, just triple bronze. Like it.
well, maybe you're just trying like get it like Pokemon. You got to catch them all. Like, look,
I
I got enough
know.
gold. Like, let
Yeah.
me get some of these bronze, and then wrap back around, get a bunch of silvers, and get the rest of the golds.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
after, so you went to Europeans and in
Yeah.
Paris, and then after that, Pans was after that, or was that Pans before
I
that?
have to look back my pictures, but Europeans was a disappointing performance. I lost my second match. I didn't get into the quarterfinals, but that's okay. I was in Paris.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we're not there for the medal. We're there for the trip. Like, how big was your
Yes.
bracket for the Europeans?
I think we were like 18 or 20. Yeah.
Nice.
The better question is, how big was my opponent? She
Hmm.
was very big. I had dropped some weight, not really intentionally, but then I was like, I'm not gonna drop that weight class down because I'm traveling, so I don't want to like be too close. So I weighed in 8 pounds under,
Hmm.
and my opponent that I lost to, I could guarantee she did not weigh in 8 pounds under. She was like, I feel like I'm pretty strong, and I don't really run into it very often in matches where I feel out muscled. And not saying that her jiu-jitsu was good too, but then she was strong and heavier than me, and I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be a long 6 minutes. Yeah.
Sometimes as soon as they get that grip, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot. But then the rest of the trip was really fun, and we did. My friend and I went. We took a detour and went to Amsterdam, and I rolled in Amsterdam. That was really fun
Nice.
seeing them.
What's the scene like out there in Amsterdam as far as grappling goes?
Yeah, pretty chill. There was the one gym I went to. It was just like the closest one, and they were all very nice. It was a Gracie based gym. I should say the name of it in case anybody decides to listen from it. Amsterdam BJJ, and they had a couple girls there, so it was really fun to roll with them. And yeah, it was a very fun time. Definitely want to go back.
I'm sure they'll be happy to have you back. So
Yeah.
that's cool though. The it's I think I don't know. There's something coming up at the end of April. I want to say the 29th. I think it's Masters. I think
Oh yeah, in Europe. Yeah.
like Barcelona, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, so I don't think you're in that age bracket yet, but
No,
I,
not yet.
I'm sure if it was available, you're like, fuck it, I'm going. Like
Yeah.
they'll see you like, oh, welcome back, Julia.
Yeah. You know what they did post is the Australian Open and the Pan Pacific in Japan.
Oh
And I
yeah.
would love to go to both places, to Australia and to Japan. But they posted them, and it's like for comps this summer. I'm like, those are very long plans. Like I need to know a year in advance so I can like budget properly and do time off and everything. So not this year, unfortunately.
Like I've been seeing a lot more IBJJF competitions popping up on my Instagram feed, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, cool. Like, and then obviously you get to the gym and then you hear them mention it. I think one of my teammates was mentioning going to, I don't know if it was Japan or China, but there was something that he had mentioned like he's interested in going to. So, kudos to you guys. So, as far as you know, what's going on right now for you, like with competing, are
Mm-hmm.
you like anything on the horizon upcoming for you, or are you just kind of cooling out for a minute?
Yeah. So I did Pans. That was my last one, Pansky, in March, and I got third there, which I was pleased with because I that was a big bracket, and that was actually my. It's weird. It was my third time going to Pans as a blue belt, because they like did it twice, kind of one year. I don't know. It
Mhm.
was the first time I placed, and that's all I wanted to do, and so I was very happy with that. And I got via 2 submissions, 3 if you count the one that I tapped to. Um, but it was really fun, and I went with my team as well, and I was able to coach the gal who ran the half marathon with me. She was there, and it was her second competition. So it was fun to help her out with that. And then we all went to Universal as little team bonding, and it was really fun. So that, yeah. And then I don't have anything until May. Is the next Atlanta Open.
I keep forgetting
Yeah,
that what month we're in right now. To
I
be
know.
honest,
It's
like
moving fast. I saw it had one in Baton Rouge in May also, and I wanted to do that, but then I remembered we have a Nova You Now training camp in Atlanta that same weekend, so I'm going to do that instead. And then
eh,
I looked at the ones for the summer, but I haven't seen one that I really want to do. I might end up going to Jiu Jitsu Con late summer. I think that would be fun. And that's in Vegas. They haven't posted American Nationals, which I did last year and I really enjoyed. So we'll see about that. But summertime, I like to just chill, enjoy the nice weather, not running all around.
ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, I always find it really not necessarily odd, but whenever I see the competition schedules pop up, everyone's ready for that summer run. They just
Mm-hmm.
go to all the competitions. And it's like, man, I don't know. I feel like summertime's around. Just cool out. Like,
Yeah, just chill
why,
out.
why
Plus,
we
it's more
chasing it?
expensive to travel in the summer anyway. So,
Hmm. I think next February, I'm gonna my family and I'm gonna try to go to Disney. They don't know this yet, but I'm gonna see if we can orchestrate a Disney trip next February. Because I was like, well, if we try to do it in the summer, first off, it's hot as fuck. Number
mm-hmm.
one. Number two, it's expensive.
Yeah.
So, and then trying to figure out how do we want to do it? Do we want to fly? Do we want to drive? What's going to be the best bet for us? Like, I
Yeah.
don't have an issue with flying. I always say that until I'm in the air. And once I'm in the air, it's like we're not supposed to be up here. Like we gotta like can we stop? And it doesn't help if you like take some sort of a assisted gummy
Mm-hmm.
along on the trip as well, and you're like, oh my god, like I don't want to be up here. So I wouldn't do that while I'm with my family going to Disney, maybe. But I I, I think yeah, for travel, you definitely want to do it in those. I mean, even in the wintertime, that you got the holidays, so then they try to crank up your prices then. But
Yeah.
like going into that beginning of
February
the
would be
year,
good.
yeah, like February, safe travels, fun travels, cheap travels. So,
Yeah.
uh, but either way, fun times all the same.
I'm gonna give you one piece of advice for Disney, since you mentioned it.
I'm all
Don't
ears.
don't take any of those gummies and go on It's a Small World.
Oh, well, I mean, that was kind of my like this is like kind of the build up for me right there. So I don't know. I don't know. Look, I'm not good at taking advice, so I don't know. I might still. So one of my coworkers was telling me about he went to Disney this Christmas, this past Christmas, and he loved it. He was like, "Look, as a grown man, I didn't think I was going to enjoy it like the way that
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it." He's talking about Epcot and everything, and the way he like kind of described it, I was like, "Man, I should want to go to Disney with a bunch of my friends, like my buddies. I
Yeah.
want to go there with my family, like buzzkill."
It is really fun. Like, so I went to Disney as well this past trip. And I just did that with my other teammate, and because he never been to Disney at all, and he didn't compete even. He just went to go to Disney and Universal. It was like his birthday present. So we went in the morning, and you like Star Wars, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my gosh, I don't even really. You're gonna kill me, Rose. I don't really even like Star Wars or watch it,
I
but
don't have to.
I went because they had the new part in Hollywood Studios is the Star Wars land, and my friend, of course, is a huge Star Wars fan. So I was like, okay, well, I will go with you. This is how crazy I am. I went. It's the day I'm competing. I was competing in the afternoon, so I went to Disney World in the morning with my friend. went through all of the Star Wars stuff, and then went and competed. And then I told him, I gave him a specific itinerary. I was like, okay, you need to go to Animal Kingdom, and then you go to Epcot, and then I'll meet you back in Magic Kingdom. So I went, competed, and then I went back and met him in Magic Kingdom for fireworks and the rest of the night. Anyway, the Star Wars ride, there's a couple of them, but like the biggest one, that was the best ride I'd ever been on. It was
Hmm,
so cool. It was like 3 rides in one. I still don't understand how they did some of the stuff. It was amazing.
nice.
Yeah.
I'll keep that. See, that's one of the things my wife keeps trying to like sell me on is like the Star Wars stuff. And it's like it's like that's not even like you don't have to sell me on it. Like saying this to my wife because like we've had like kind of family discussions about going to Disney, and I was like, I don't think I want to go. Like I'm,
Hmm.
not that I have anything like I'm not anti Disney or anything. I'm just like, I'm anti humans. So
There's a lot
that
of humans there.
yeah, it's like you walk in and it just smells like humanity. It's like, ugh.
Well, I mean,
But,
Magic Kingdom smells like sugar and magic, though. So
no, I mean it's Magic Kingdom. It's supposed to.
yeah, yeah.
Like they're just pumping that out the vents at that point. Um,
Hmm.
but the whole sell was my wife telling me, oh well, Star Wars and da da da. I'm like the big reason I'm going. I mean, is because it's a family trip.
Yeah.
My daughter is like family. She's like, we all have to go. I was like, okay. Like, I don't want her, growing up and like, yeah, I went to Disney when my dad didn't go. It was fun, but it would have been, more fun if my dad was there. Little does she know. Like, you think it's gonna be more fun with me? I'm from Detroit. I'm gonna go get into a fight.
There is Disney jail. I had to keep telling my friend, I was like, you, Ollie, you cannot do anything inappropriate. There are children here, and there is Disney jail, and I don't know how to bail you out of Disney jail.
I want to know more about. I'm gonna Google that later. I need to know details. Like I don't want to go to it. Although I feel like it would be some shit like Rapunzel's fucking tower.
It's like
It's
underground.
even better,
Yeah.
even better. But I don't know. We'll end up making the trip out there and doing the family thing. And I don't know. Whenever I go on family trips, I can't like secretly plan like any kind of jujitsu stuff because my
Hmm.
family's like, no, it's a family thing. And it's like, man, I'm trying to go get choked by strangers.
Yeah,
Like,
it's so weird. It's like non-jujitsu family and friends are like, this is our trip. This is our time. What do you mean you want to go and do this? Like, okay.
it's a weird thing to me. Well, I don't know. Like, kind of our whole thing is like my wife encourages me to go to jujitsu. She's like, you need to go. She can
Hmm.
see me getting like cranky around the house. She's like, you need to go train.
Hmm.
Like, you're right. And I think what she's saying is you need to go get your ass kicked. It's like, yeah, you're probably right. I probably do need to get humbled real quick. But um but yeah, going back to like, kind of that crazy day for you. It's like I'm not shocked by that because I mean, if I recall correctly, you had to fly out to Europe, but before flying out to Europe, you went and competed
Hmm.
and
On the
then
layover.
so yeah, it's like that sounds like a very Julia thing to do and
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it was like, do it for the plot. I feel like I have a reputation to uphold, so that's what I did. And that's also the excuse I used to not do the absolute division. It's like, oh, I gotta go to
it,
Magic Kingdom, man. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I was tired. I was happy with the the medal I got, and I saw the other girls because I was back. I ended up back down to middle heavy, and I saw the heavy and the ultra heavy. I was like, oh no, no, thank you.
it's like I'm all right, I'm good. You
Yeah.
know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go ahead, sit over here, have a salt tablet,
Mhm.
and cool out. Y'all do
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So
Just relax. It was a fun time though. They've been getting very strict though. The people that check you in at competitions, and I think it might just be for the bigger ones. Um, but at Pans and Europeans, I had issues checking in at Europeans. they told me I couldn't wear my gi because the patch was in the wrong place on the back of it, which I thought was very strange considering I wore that exact same gi with the exact same patches to the last year's European. I thought that was very rude. And I am always a very prepared person, but for some reason, it's always my luck that I don't bring the thing, the double of the thing that I need. So I did not have another gi. But thankfully, jiu-jitsu is a small world, and somebody that I knew from Tennessee, from the Tennessee road trip, was there, and I was like, give me your gi right now. So it was kind of sad. I had to just wear like a plain white gi top for that. And then at Pans, I go and I had my regular belts. I do have two belts, like because I keep one nice for competition, but I don't wear it in competition, so I just keep a nice one, and then my training one, and the same belt that I wore for all my other competitions that I wear every time. They go, no, it's too old. Like, what do you mean? So the rules are that it's like you can't have any tears in it. At least that's what I thought. And there weren't any tears in it, but it's like kind of faded. It's like, it's my blue belt. I've had it for 2 years. I wear it every day. It's been through a lot of shit, but not torn. I'm like, no. So I run over, and Diego Fernando, my coaches, are not there. And usually when they're there, like I can get everything. But somebody that I know, because when I work the competitions, you make friends. I was like, Delore, when do you compete? I know you don't compete today. Give me your belt. So I had to use somebody else's belt. And then I'm over there, and they looked at my nails. And I always have my nails done, and it draws attention. But they're short, like they're not long. They're not going to scratch anybody. And they're filed, and they're nice. But they're like, you could probably see, they're just a little bit over like the tip of my finger, like that. And they're like, no, you have to cut them. So I did, however, have my nail clippers, and I'm standing there in front of them, like clipping each nail, like, good, good. I almost made myself bleed because I was like, let me in here.
It feels like it's just one thing after the other. For this, like, oh, you got to replace you replace the gi. Okay, well, your belt's not good enough. Oh, you got a replacement for the belt. Well, look at your nails. There's something wrong with your nails. It's like everything's is like, what else can we mess with her about? Oh, your arms are too long. It's like, okay, look, motherfucker, I can't do anything about this. Like, this is how I was born. Stop, like, let me compete or not. Well, I'm glad that it all worked out, but still, it's like, again, just throwing one obstacle in after the other.
Yes, always learning lessons. Dozens of competitions later, and I'm still learning all these things.
Yeah, I mean, that's life, though. That's jujitsu, though.
Yeah.
We're always it doesn't matter what your rank is, doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. There's always going to be something that you're gonna either rediscover or get different clarification on it. And then, like you said, you competed the last two, with that specific gi, and just this time, whoever's making the decisions and the preferences are like, nah, I think I don't like this now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cruddy, but whatever. So, as it stands right now with your training, how's everything going there? Like, how you feeling? Just in training lately, do you feel, after with all the running and the cardio, kind of boosting up, and now getting, the pots, figured out, and um, understanding what's going on there? Like, how you feeling, in your training?
I feel very good with it, and also new to it because I've always played the bottom game. It's where I felt most comfortable, and I like realizing now partially because of the pots, because like I said before, with the change in plane, I feel lightheaded, right? And so now that I can do it and I have cardio, I'm like, oh damn, I have to learn all of this stuff. But it is fun, and I like it now. It feels like a whole other side to jujitsu of like playing with all the passing and the pressure and stuff. And then, yeah, I just continue to work on I like to take a couple little things and work on them until I've got them down. So I've been playing a lot of lapel stuff. So like worm guard, which I know isn't playing top game, but still I like worm guard, and then playing with lapel chokes from top half is really fun. And choking people with my belt is also fun and legal, in case you didn't know. As long as your belt is still on you, it is legal to choke them with your belt.
Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's not hurtful and disrespectful. Okay. Like I got choked with a belt recently and I didn't know how to feel
Yeah.
because it's like I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I was like, I mean, you know, the person who did is a nice person, so I'm not thinking to myself, oh, they're doing something dirty. I'm just thinking to myself, yo, you could have done anything else but that, and you chose violence. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not even like I could do anything against him. Like he just choked me with his belt.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck am I gonna do? So just another thing to know. And you know, anytime I meet up and you know you and I roll, and I know you'll probably wrist lock me, probably choke me with your belt, might
Mm-hmm.
choke me with my own belt. I don't
Yeah, I
fucking
could
know,
do that
Julia.
too.
You are a villain.
I know. And I am learning to improve my pressure now too. So it's
Great.
great. So I lost weight. Not too much, but enough to like, I guess for like 8-10 pounds, enough to make a little bit of a difference in like I'm not that heavy anymore, so I don't have the actual pressure, like the actual weight behind my pressure. And I also just didn't really have decent like heavy pressure. And so I was talking with one of my coaches about it. I was like, hey, like what am I doing wrong? He's like, oh, your hip bones are nice and pointy. Just take your hip bone and put it right on that like those lower two ribs, and that's perfect. So I've been doing that lately too. People seem to really not like that. It works really well.
Well, again, noted. It's like with jujitsu, you know, everyone that I've ever encountered that does jujitsu is a very nice person. But then, you know, when you start hearing people talk about jujitsu, you hear things like this, and it's like, it doesn't sound very nice. It doesn't sound like a nice human. But it's like, but they are. They're really nice. But it's just like we're just coming up with more effective ways to kill each
Yeah.
other right to the brink.
And it makes us nicer in the process. I feel like I'm
I
a
think so.
nicer and understanding person, and I think jujitsu makes me happy. So it's great. It was really funny last week. I ended up having to coach class because my professor was out of the country, and our purple belts and black belt didn't show up until like 30 minutes in. And I was the highest ranking blue belt there. So I was like, okay, guys, it's just like a noon class. Like I'm like leading the warm up. I'm like, hopefully somebody comes by the time we get finished with warm ups, and they didn't. So there I was, the only woman, just teaching all the guys, and some of them were newer, and I could tell they were like, "What's this like smiley, happy little girl gonna show us?" I'm like, "I'm gonna show you the move that I have won several matches with. Here you go. It's starts off pretty tame and it turns up to be quite mean. And then after showing them the last one, they're like, oh. And one of them was talking to their partners who knows me, and the partner calls over. He's like, hey, Julie, where are you ranked again? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm top 10 gi and no gi in the world. And the look on this white belt's face was like,
Put some respect on my name.
yeah,
Like
but it was
Julia. No, that's Miss Julia to you.
fun. Hey, if you've been around the gym long enough at my gym and been to my Halloween parties with my pranks, it's actually Mistress Julia. Um, that's due to a very fun Halloween prank I pulled.
Hey, I mean, look, just hearing the wonderfully horrible things that you train and practice on the mats, like whatever name you want, that you can have it.
Yeah. My nickname is the Badger. Well, Lady Badger, because we already had one Badger. And now they're seeing that I'm getting better and meaner. So My coach he'll always say mean badger when I'm doing good, but now they're throwing around the name of Wolverine.
I like it.
I kind of like that, but I already have it down in my gym basement. It says the Badger Den,
Mm,
so I don't even know what Wolverines have. Like, do they have
mm,
dens?
I would imagine. I think they're like kin
The
to
same
like,
creature, yeah.
yeah. It those types of things are all like, it's like, oh, they're the same thing. It's just regionally they're called something different, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know what makes, you know, a badger different from a wolverine other than, you know, I don't know, region.
Yeah,
In
I don't
Michigan Wolverines, they beat Wisconsin Badgers last year. That's the difference. Go blue. That's all I can think. But honestly, you know what? Like I said, whatever nickname you want, you've
know. Yeah,
earned it. Take
thank
it.
you.
Um,
I do.
so
I think I'm just mean enough to get the respect that I like. I did. I wrist locked one of our black belts. I mean, obviously he let me get to that position, but I did that, and he's like a competition black belt. He's pretty tough, and I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna roll with him until it's been a while. I need him to forget that I did that to him.
oh yeah, I'm sure he's not going to. Like wrist locks are never forgotten. Just like a teammate of mine wrist locked me, very nice guy, and I like it felt weird not talking to him because I was
Hmm.
mad. It wasn't like I was like angry, like ugh, fuck him. I just felt like I don't know if we got anything to say to each other, man. You
Hmm.
know, we encountered. She was like, "Hey Dante, what's up, man?" I didn't even say his name. He just kept walking. It's like, don't you know? God, yo, wrist locks are so. Uh, there's just like a nastiness to it. It's like, why? Like,
Yeah.
why? I'm already vulnerable. You've already got me like inside control. I can't move, and then you fucking wrist lock me. It's like, really? Like, it's one thing if like I'm just destroying you, like I'm not paying attention. You know, I'm about to pass, and then you wrist lock me some way somehow. Okay, I get it. I earned it.
Hmm.
But come on, dude. If you got me pinned and I'm just sitting there looking like a doofus, don't wrist lock me. My family watching. But good. It sounds like, you know, training's going well. Like with everything that's, you know, the changes that you've gone into. So happy to
Yeah,
hear that.
it's
It's
very
good.
good. I'm also still weight training too, which I like. I've picked up the equipment to do bench pressing, and that's my
Nice.
ultimate evil plan. And is to well, I'm very not very strong in my upper body, but I've been increasing. I have a training plan and everything, and eventually I will be. There's somebody at our gym. He's like super strong. We call him Bench Press Express because that's what he does. He's like, "Oh, this is no strength. Just press them off." I don't know. That's how I escape side control. I'm like, you know what? I like the plan. I'm gonna get there, kind of maybe someday, but I'm gonna get strong upper body. I'm gonna be the next Bench Press Express.
Well, it's always funny when you encounter someone who says something like that. It's like, no, just do this. It's that easy. And for them, it is.
Hmm.
And it's like, or you know, like you'll get people that'll say, just stand up, and you know, you always hear it. People who
Yeah.
don't know shit, like just stand up. I would just stand up. I would just stand up. No, like why are you gonna let somebody hold you down? And you explain like, well, you can't just stand up. And then
Hmm.
what was it? Derek Lewis in the UFC in a fight, he just stood up.
Hmm.
Like he was down and he just stood up, and it was like, oh shit, it works.
Yeah,
But for
it
him,
really does, and that it pisses me off when guys do that. And I'm just like, no. That's the only reason I don't like to roll with like big people sometimes. Because I'm like, the beautiful skill I worked on is not working here, and now I feel defeated. There's one guy at our gym. He's massive. He's at least 250 and 6'2". His nickname is Melancia, watermelon in Portuguese.
hmm,
And I've been working on Williams guard, which is, are you familiar?
yep.
Yeah. So on the side shoulder sandwich, I was like, it's good. And I was going for the like the go-go plotter or the arm bar. He just stood up. I'm literally locked around his shoulders and arm, and the man just stood up. I looked over at my coach, like, DJ, it's not working. He's like, well, I didn't tell you to do it on Melancia. I'm like, you didn't tell me not to.
True. Just think of it this way too. Let's say he continues to just stand up, and one day you make that shit work. That's the
Yeah,
victory, and you
yeah,
know it'll work on anyone else.
exactly. Yeah, but yeah, he literally just stood up. I was like, I'm not a small person. Like, compared to him, I am, but I'm still 150 pounds. He just like, stood up. I'm like, okay.
I mean, like I said, for some people that shit works. It's like, just bench press them off. It's like that shit doesn't work. For it does for me. It just stand up. That doesn't work. Well, for me it does.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna tell you right now, just standing up does not work for me. Like I try to just stand up and they're like, oh shit, that ain't the right move. I try to bench press somebody up off of me. Nope.
Yeah.
They taking
I
that
do the
arm with them.
opposite. I do the opposite. I just sit down. I'm a guard
Yeah.
player. They're like, oh, go for this. I'm like, no, I'm just going to sit down.
Well, that's what sucks with my jiu-jitsu. It's like I'm just so inactive with this. Like I sit down to guard and then just get passed, and I'm like, fuck. Like, why am I doing this? Like on it, like I'm just gonna shoot, fucking just get a takedown, just fucking get top. Like I'm not doing this shit anymore. But I think it's kind of built into me now. At the gym, I always pull guard or sit to guard, and then I get fucked up, and I'm like, dude, why do you keep doing this? You know this is not your strong area, which I guess part of it is maybe I should work on that. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like, no, fuck that. I want to be there. Like
Yeah.
I'm sick of getting embarrassed. Everybody looking at me like, look at this guy. Take his fucking belt away.
I
Take his
mean,
white belt.
that's how I feel with passing a lot of the time. So I make deals with myself, which sounds kind of silly, but basically I just tell myself like, okay, where's my energy at today? How do I feel? And if I like feel low or like I just don't feel mentally ready or strong enough, I'm like, you know what? We're not working on that today. I'm just gonna go and play because jiu-jitsu to me is I'm always going to have fun. It's always going to be my playtime. And that to mean like I'm definitely putting in a lot of hard work. But sometimes I've already had a long day and I'm just not ready to put in more work. That's like
Hmm.
actually hard. So I'm just going to go and I'm going to roll with my favorite training partners and do the things I like to do. I'm not going to work on those skills that I've been working on because I know that I won't get it at one point because I'm working on it, and that'll make me frustrated and that'll make me discouraged, and I'll just snowball on down the hill. So I wait for the days, which is most days, that I feel good mentally and physically to work on it, and then I start. I say, okay, I'm going to start playing my top game and working on it and see how it goes. And some days I have a great day and I can do it the whole class. Some days I do it for one round. I'm like, I'm going to stop while I'm ahead. Some days I try it for 30 seconds. I'm like, we're not doing it. I miscalculated my energy levels today. We're going to go back to plan B, which is play and have fun.
It's a solid plan to have. Like, I've been trying to convince myself lately with training. I didn't train the last couple of weeks. I had a groin injury while playing Spider, and a teammate stepped. So I feel like if you would have stepped a little higher,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm sorry, lower on the
Mm-hmm.
leg, I might have been fine. But he stepped kind of high up and yanked, like to kind of pull, like to break the grip.
Yeah.
And I heard that pop in my fucking leg. Like I thought it was my hip at first. It was like, I just went into like a brief shock for a moment because I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I heard a pop, and then my leg drops to the mat, and then I felt the pain shoot up, and I was like, oh no, that's my hip.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I went to roll over, I was like, that's not my hip, that's my groin, like the tendon there. It's like, oh
Mm-hmm.
shit. And it's been kind of a slow recovery. Like the main part of it, like the major pain, um, has kind of let up, but now it's just this discomfort. Like I was at work the other day and I tried to jog, like
Mm-hmm.
from one building to the other, That was not Dante friendly. But I'm going to be going back this week. And I've been kind of playing in my head on just going back because I have to remind myself I'm still recovering. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, play your game differently now, because I'm obviously not going to have the use of my right leg
Mm-hmm.
to full strength. So it's like, all right, we're not fucking around with guard today. So don't sit the guard, dummy,
Yeah.
because you're going to get passed immediately or hurt again.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, having a plan just going into training is always, a good thing. And it took me a while to even realize that I was just going to train just thinking like, yeah, this is my playtime. I'm just coming here to have fun
Mm-hmm.
and blow off steam. And now going into training, it's like as you kind of advance up through the ranks, you're like, okay, the shit that I did at white belt, just having fun, worked as a white belt. Once you go up to blue belt, it's like, okay, now you got to have a game plan. You got to kind of like, advance your jujitsu. And
Mm-hmm.
like, I think I, like hearing you say that is a reminder to myself, and then also remembering I'm injured as fuck. So that's the other reminder. I was like, hey, dummy, don't go in there
Yeah.
trying to do a flying arm bar that you've never ever done in your life.
Yeah. It's. I think you need to have a plan, even if the plan is just to play or to keep yourself safe when you're injured.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Meaning,
important.
I've also gone in with like the plan in my mind, tap early. And when I say early, I mean as soon as, it's there. It's like just
Mm-hmm.
tap. Like
Yeah.
I've gone in doing that just, for the understanding of, myself being able to, avoid injury. But then there's also times where I go in trying to conserve energy. So it's like, okay, you know, if you get in a bad spot, instead of trying to fight out and burning yourself up, just tap, reset,
Mm-hmm.
and just understand, lesson learned, don't get there again. Except for this one dude, like Baird, he beat the shit out of me, and then he went on to win gold at Pans, which was good.
Wow.
The shit that he was just smashing me with. He went and uh, just whipped ass with that at Pans and won gold. And I was like, good for him. Because it'd be some shit if this dude's beat my ass with that, with wrist locks and fucking squid guard and all this shit, and then
Mm-hmm.
doesn't do anything with it. So I'm glad he won. Well, I'm
Yeah.
glad he won. Period. But the fact that he was beating the shit out of me with it was like good. Now y'all know what I felt. Fuck y'all. Well, Julia, it's always nice talking with you.
It is. Yes.
It's always kind of you to offer your time up too. And thank you also, a couple weeks ago with your patience and,
No
understanding of my
problem.
bad internet connection. So
No worries. Like I said, then we had extra stories. We wouldn't have had the pants story. So
true,
there you go.
true. Um, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap up, get out of here. I hear my daughter upstairs doing, I don't know what she's doing, but it sounds chaotic. So I gotta go save my home before
Yeah.
we get out of here. You got any shout outs or mentions you want to drop for us?
Let's see. I think my mention would be as we go into the summer months, take your salt for everybody, not just Potsies. And then my other recommendation is the Joy Lab podcast. I really enjoy it. It's two therapists talking about different ways to get more joy into your life and handle tough things and just have different viewpoints in life. So it's very nice. I like it.
And
And
you
it's
said
like
that's
20
the Joy
Joy
Lab.
Lab. Yes, Joy Lab podcast. And it's like 20-minute episodes. So for me, it's perfect. I listen to it going or coming back from jiu-jitsu. It's really nice.
All right. I'll make sure to put them in the show notes
Yes. And
and
for
listen myself.
if you want to start, they have not that many episodes, but I think that there's one episode that's really good for jiu-jitsu people, which is the episode on hobbies, harmonious versus obsessive hobbies. And it's a very
Mhm.
good way to evaluate your hobbies and see what's really healthy for you and what could be needing a little bit of work.
Maybe, but then I feel like I'll be getting called out when I'm listening to that. Like you shouldn't be obsessed with something. It's like, fuck.
No, they're very,
Like she's
very
talking
gentle
about
about
me.
it. Yeah, but it's a good listen. I recommend it.
Awesome. Well, I will put their link in the show notes, and I will also give it a listen as well myself, and um, try to gain from it as well. So thank you for that, Julia.
Yeah.
And as always, to all the listeners, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the supports. I appreciate you all. And, you know, this podcast isn't much of anything without the listeners and also my guests as well. So I want to give a big shout out to all the guests who've been on here before. I want to give a big shout out to my current guest right here, Miss Julia. I don't know why I call you Miss Julia. It just feels natural to say Miss Julia.
It's probably because I'm in the South. You're like, the Southern ladies.
I don't know. I don't know. It's like anytime I refer to you to anyone, I say Miss Julia.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but it works. But
I like
thank
it.
you, thank you.
Yeah.
Because again, without you all as guests, this show doesn't function. So I appreciate the hell out of everyone who shares their time with us.
No, it doesn't function without you. So thank you.
Well, maybe,
It doesn't exist
maybe.
without you.
Like, true, true. Look, well, like it's a give and take here. Like we all make it work, but
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate everyone. I want to also give a big shout out to Nerd Rage Radio. I've been pumping up over the last few weeks. Episode 400 upcoming. We have recorded it, and it should be coming out if it's not already out. So again, Bobby, Chris, Joe, Marilyn, Phil, Ricky, Tiki, Raul, everyone over there. Thank you guys. You're fucking awesome. Love you guys, man. Um, Also, big shout out to my other podcast here, the Clompton Beer Club. We just put out episode 100. It was a fun time. It wasn't anything necessarily special about it. It was the 100th episode, and we reviewed whiskey, and it was fun. So there's that. And also, shout out to my other podcast again. So You Like Horror? It's about horror movies. And right now, we're talking about horror through the decades, and we're picking up some new themes as well. Scream, the newest Scream movie, horror in the 60s and 70s, the more recent episodes as well. Um, yeah. So if you're into spooky shit like that, go check it out. You'll have a good time. I have a good time recording it. So I like to think you all will have a good time listening to it. But otherwise, thanks everyone. If y'all have any questions, concerns, criticisms, feel free to reach out to me. You can find me at Off the Mask Podcast or bjj.wiki, both on Instagram. Um, yeah. And I'm an open book. You ask me a question, I'll answer. If you want to be a guest, shoot me a message. I've had a few people reach out, and we've worked out some dates to get some other people on here and talk about their experiences. So reach out to me. I'm a nice guy. I ain't gonna bite. So
He's very nice. I have one more recommendation.
all right, let's go.
If you're in the Atlanta area and you want something fun to do, go to Distillery of Modern Art. It's a really cool distillery. They just opened 9 months ago, and they have a really nice space and good liquor.
All right, love to hear it. So in my trips down to Disney World, maybe we'll drive and just make
Mm-hmm.
that stop. But I'll make sure to get them in the show notes as well. Otherwise, thank you everyone. You all keep listening. We're gonna keep making these shows. Thank you everyone, and bye bye.
They were with it. Now let me sing a song.